In today's breaking news, I never thought this day would come, at least not under this current version of the SEC, as several large banks that have consulted with the SEC were given the green light to bypass balance sheet reporting. This is massive news, a huge win for crypto and of course for XRP. Is this the SEC realizing it needs to relax the SAB 121 requirements when it comes to banks and brokerages, or a reaction to Congress's campaign for change? The bottom line though is that the SEC has allowed some exceptions to crypto accounting compliances, which is huge news. Basically, if banks can guarantee they'll protect those assets in case of bankruptcy, then they don't have to list them as liabilities, which is a big deal because the original rule enforced by the SEC discouraged banks from offering crypto services at all. Now we can expect more banks to jump into the crypto market and start to see mass adoption of assets like XRP. Now the reason I highlight XRP as an asset of choice by the banks to adopt is simple. Ripple have partnerships with all the major governments and central banks all around the world. That is fact. Ripple are part of the discussions taking place for shaping the new financial landscape. Like this, for example, from the Good Morning Crypto, US lawmakers recently met with crypto advocates during a secret roundtable event. The most notable participants of this meeting's 27 attendees was billionaire Mark Cuban, Coinbase's CLO Paul Grewal, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse, Stellar CEO Danielle Dixon, and Galaxy CEO Mike Novogratz. Note how I mentioned XRP and XLM being the two that were present, not Bitcoin, not Ethereum, and not Tether. Stellar's CEO states, "It's clear that these leaders understand that leadership from the United States on blockchain technology and digital assets is critical to ensure this industry and this technology is allowed to flourish." Very, very important to note. And now, despite the fact that it was Biden's administration that set up this secret roundtable, the President of the United States, Joe Biden, was not in attendance, which is very worrying considering this is America's future we're talking about here. And in fact, there's some more shocking news. The Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell states in this video that he has not had any meetings or phone calls with Joe Biden since 2022. Take a listen.
Chairman Powell, to the best of my knowledge, the last public meeting between you and President Biden occurred on May 31st, 2022. Does that sound accurate?
I'm going to take your word for it.
Okay. Have you had any private meetings with the president since that time?
No.
Any phone calls with the president?
Nope. I don't believe so.
Is there any reason why you've not met with or spoken to the president?
I meet with when any president calls you come and you meet, but that hasn't happened. So
this is mind-blowing, absolutely shocking news. And it gets worse. As we can see in this video here, the Secretary of the Treasury, Janet Yellen, confesses that she's not basically been doing her job as the head of the FSOC, which is calling the shots between the SEC and the CFTC on crypto regulations. Listen closely.
On another topic related to digital assets, the SEC and the CFTC are consistently taking opposite legal positions in federal court on digital assets. In your capacity as the Financial Stability Oversight Council leader, what are you doing to bring the CFTC and the SEC together and be on the same page about this matter?
Well, it's not the job of the Financial Stability Oversight Council to adjudicate
No, but you're supposed to quarterback financial risk. Are you quarterbacking between the CFTC and the SEC on this dispute?
Not really. Our view, we have done a report on the risks connected with cryptocurrency and digital assets.
Right. In my final...
Our risks have to do with holes where there's a lack
right.
of authority.
I agree, and you're working constructively with us. Thank you.
Honestly, it is about time we get the anti-crypto congressmen and politicians out of office. The ones that are not doing their job, they are the ones stifling crypto's innovation, which in this current timeline means they are limiting America's potential. They need to start doing their jobs. And in continuation on that front, Fox Business journalist Elena Terra informed us that the House was set to vote to overturn Joe Biden's veto of the SEC's SAB 121. According to Democrat staffer familiar with the thinking of the House leads, they do not expect many Democrats to change their votes, potentially because they see a better way to override SAB 121 through the HR 5741, the Uniform Treatment of Custodial Assets Act, a bipartisan bill introduced by US Republican Mike Flood and co-sponsored by Republican French Hill, Willie Nickel and Richie Torres that addresses the accounting treatment of digital assets. Not to mention the House Appropriations also included a policy rider in its budget bill that would prohibit the SEC from using appropriated funds to implement SAB 121. The bill would have to be approved by the Senate before it goes into effect, taking the power away from the SEC. But the truth of the matter also they had to consider is that if they did change their vote, therefore voting to overturn the veto and allow the repealing of SAB 121, this could be seen as a rebellion against their commander-in-chief. And unsurprisingly, therefore, this House vote did fail. Take a listen.
Vote. The yeas are 228, the nays are 184. 2/3 not being in the affirmative, the veto of the president is sustained and the joint resolution is rejected. The veto message and joint resolution are referred to the Committee on Financial Services. The clerk will notify the Senate of the action of the House.
Now, whereas this may be seen as negative news, which it is in a sense, Joe Biden once again continuing in his anti-crypto stance. As we can see in this interview with Paul Barron, the veto against SAB 121 doesn't matter because of the FIT 21 bill. A bill, keep in mind, that got passed thanks to the contributions of Ripple and their legal victories time and time again against the SEC. Take a listen.
President Biden actually interrupted that vote with a message. And then, of course, clearly there's something going on in the back room between the SEC and some of these banks. So what do you make of this, Mike? What's your opinion about what's happening right there?
I mean, look, this is all a sideshow and it's all theater. Honestly, it doesn't matter. So one of the things they're referencing there is this little oddity that this other bill called the FIT 21 bill, which would introduce some market structure for crypto. It also happens to obliterate SAB 121. So It would be a second way to do it. And some of the Congress people voted yes on one and on the other. Okay.
So all in all, this is still very, very big news. It's all going in accordance to Brad Garlinghouse's plan. His prediction at the beginning of this year was that 2024 will be a big year for XRP, that they are working to bring the crypto industry and the White House together, and that Gary Gensler will go down. Considering Brad Garlinghouse is taking part in secret roundtables, considering the SEC has now greenlighted banks to start adopting cryptocurrency, and also considering now that thanks to Ripple, the SEC continues to lose time and time again in the courts of law. Most recently, Paxos prevails in the SEC investigation of BUSD stablecoin. This is another sign of the pressure that Gary Gensler is feeling to curb regulation by enforcement, and proof that XRP's mass adoption and price explosion is just around the corner. Remember, don't look short term, think long term, and I'll see you in the next one.